I want to welcome you to this Relentless Learning. It happens every Friday at noon Pacific. And I have a few slides I'm just going to go through briefly that explain what this Relentless Learning is all about. I know some of you have been there last week, and some of you have joined me with Relentless Learning when I've done it with other companies. Now that I am kind of doing my own consulting work, I wanted to present this to the rest of the world. So this week, the way this works is it's 45 minutes. We're going to have two big ideas that are going to be presented during this. And the two big ideas this week is Aman is going to join us in about 15 minutes for embracing AI, unlocking a new level of productivity. Prior to that, I'm going to do a little bit of intro as I'm doing here. And then I'm going to present something I call the magic of relative estimation. I want you all, hopefully, again, no technical problems next week, but I want you all to join us next week for Kyle, as he's going to present the path to hours, where path equals please and thanks. Basically, his thing is we will go from please to thank you in hours and not days, weeks, months, and years. And I'm going to present what will be the third in this kind of series of what I'm referring to as backlog management, why sequence means value. The things that I'm presenting today is going to be interesting because it's a kind of a carry-on from last week. If you remember last week, I presented Apke's Golden Rule of Agile, which, by the way, is the title of my next book. And for those of you who want to see the next book, it's going to be available sometime probably in mid-October, so very soon. The Relentless Learning every Friday is sponsored by the VUCA MBA. You can see, obviously, I've branded it. You see VUCA MBA all over the place here. What is VUCA? What is the VUCA MBA? VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. That is the way the world is for many of us, and it continues to be that way. It only becomes more VUCA over time. And the interesting thing about how do we as human beings, how do we as companies succeed, or at least increase our odds of success in this VUCA world. And one of the things that we certainly need is we need the right mental models and mindset. So the MBA part of this actually stands for Mindset for Business Agility. This is actually 3-day class that was taken from, some of you might be familiar with the Agile MBA. So this was taken from the Agile MBA, and it was fairly successful. I ran a nonprofit, among others, for a while until just this previous May, where I presented this Agile MBA to over 4,000 people worldwide over the span of 7 years. And I've also taken some of those materials and obviously presented them in the companies where I've worked. And we found that it's pretty successful. If you got a chance to see the intro before we started here, there's a lot of testimonials and other things about how effective the VUCA MBA is. I think it's very reasonably priced for the value. And if you're interested in more information about the VUCA MBA, there were a bunch of links that I put into the original comment stream. I will make sure that at some point in time we get those copied over to this particular stream. Again, apologies for the problems that we have with technology. These are the links. I'll make sure that I copy and paste them. There's the VUCA MBA website. You can email me at Larry@VUCA MBA. There's a Relentless Learning mailing list. So if you want to make sure that you're reminded of these sessions, even though they're every Friday, same bat time, same bat place. YouTube, there's a lot of videos that I have of my presentations and other things. You can join me on LinkedIn. I always accept requests and would love to talk to folks there. If you're that interested and you want to, move forward with talking about the VUCA MBA and how it can help you, you can put some time on my calendar for a half-hour Zoom chat. And then I put a link to all the training testimonials that we've had in the past. So that's the VUCA MBA. That's Relentless Learning. We're here today really to bring you value in the sense that, and I know your time is valuable. We're going to try to give you something that are big ideas that will help you to think. I'm always looking for kind of that aha moment where we can say something in the span of about 10 minutes with a very short presentation that you're going to say, hey, this is really valuable to me. It's 10 minutes, but it's very valuable. So I want to start with my big idea, based on some of the information that I presented, building on last week's big idea. And last week's big idea was Apke's Golden Rule of Agile. And for those of you who I mentioned before, I'm going to have a book coming out that's going to be called Apke's Golden Rule of Agile, where I get into a lot of detail on this. But I'm going to cover some of the main points over the next few weeks in these big ideas. And one of them, the Apke's Golden Rule of Agile is we deliver the optimal value to our customers in the shortest possible time. And I think that when we look at product development, software development, this is what we hope to achieve, is actually delivering high value to our customers as quickly as possible. And it doesn't take in all of Agile. It doesn't take in all the values and principles of the Agile Manifesto, but I think it does a good job of distilling it into something that's easily memorable. So, as I said last week, if we know that these three things are the three things that we want to focus on as a company, we really need to know primarily three things. We need to know our customers. We need to know what are the valuable things that we could deliver to our customers. We usually express those things in terms of to-do lists or backlogs or stories or what have you, features. And we need to know how long does it take to bring those things to our customers. So this particular presentation is trying to figure out two of the three things, which is, if we know value and effort are critical to the work that we do and the value we can bring to our customers, how can we actually assess things like value and effort and do so very, very quickly? This is the thing I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how quickly it can be done. And it's not perfect. We're not looking for perfection here. What we're looking for is we're looking for things that guide us in the right direction in terms of the things that bring value and the effort that it would take to do them. So the best way I found is to do it through relative estimation. A lot of folks want to do absolute estimation. They want to say this task, this story, this feature is going to take 2 days or 10 hours or something. That's not relative. I'm going to use this technique. I'm not the only one who does this. It's actually called silent grouping and affinity estimation. But I put in kind of parenthetically, if you want to call it the Apke method, I'm not going to get hurt by it. There's others out there in the Agile world who do this, and they claim, they put their name to it. So if you want to put my name to it, it's fine. It doesn't really matter to me. But the key is that we as human beings are very good with relativity as opposed to absolutes. It's just one of those many cognitive biases I talk about. There's a lot of optical illusions and things that have to deal with relative size of things. We're good with relative size. We're not good with absolute. So the way this works, because I only have about 5 more minutes before I want to bring in Aman to talk about his big idea, is we take all of the work that we could do. We identify all the work that we could do. We put it into a list. In my training, we've actually done it as a honeydew list. So I want you to kind of look here. We use a virtual whiteboard. And we put these things like sticky notes. So these are virtual sticky notes. We used to do it back in the old days. We used to do it in person. We used to put sticky notes on a whiteboard, literally. So this is what it would look like. And all the items of things that we could do to delight our customers and bring value to our customers, we're going to put on the left-hand side of this. And I've got a little line here to demarcate that. And as a facilitator, I'm going to guide teams through this process. And what we do is we have 2 different meetings. One meeting is for the value, and one meeting is for the effort that it would take to deliver the value. And the people who come to us for the value session, these are the people who understand the value of the work. They're usually our business people. They could be customers or our partners, but that's who we have in the room. When we talk about relative effort, we have the people who know about effort. These are our developers usually. And I'm going to ask a very simple question once we have these things. I'm going to do this setup. And I'm going to take a couple of things from this backlog and move them over to the main stage, so to speak. I'm going to ask a very simple question. I know you can't read these, but this is an actual honeydew list. This is an actual screenshot of one of the exercises I've done. I'm going to ask, in terms of value, for the people in value, if I were to deliver, I'm going to say it very particularly, if I were to deliver this item today versus this item today, which one would bring more value? And we're going to come up to a consensus. Usually it's pretty easy at that point in time. I'm going to put the one with the most value on the right and the one with the less value on the left. And we're going to put some space in between them so that we have places to put them. And then I'm going to grab a third one. I'm going to ask a very simple question. Again, if I were to deliver this item today in terms of value, how does it sit in relation to the other two? Is it to the left? Is it in the middle? Is it to the right, etc.? And now we have 3 items. It could be, again, anything. It could be features. It could be stories. It could be, in this case, it's a honey-do list of home repairs. And then I'm going to get the team and I'm going to ask them a very simple question. Grab one of these sticky notes. And if you know what it is, or if you think you know what it is in terms of value, I want you to move it to the screen and I want you to put it where you think it belongs in terms of relative value. And they're going to do that. And after they do that, we're going to end up with something that looks like this, where the things with the least amount of value and the things with the most amount of value go from left to right. And you'll notice that there are sometimes groupings where things are underneath other things. And as a facilitator, I'm going to take those and we're going to try to get them into groups. And then we're going to actually take and we're going to put, so this is the grouping exercise. We usually do 9 or fewer columns now. And I'm going to verify with the people. I'm going to say, look, do the things in this column look like the other things in this column in respect to the value they would deliver? And if they don't, we'll move them around and we go through a whole process. I don't want to explain the whole process. I only have a couple minutes left. But I do go through the whole process, and I do want to say, and I know I'm plugging it a lot, but in the VUCA MBA, we have 3 days, and part of that is we'll do this exercise, not just theoretically, but we'll do it with your backlog. And there's a huge value to it. If nothing else that you get, there's a huge value to this because, as I'm going to explain, the sequence with which we deliver these is going to be critical. And then we're going to take and we're going to put some numbers, numeric values to the values that we've done. And you can see that we've done this here. We use a modified Fibonacci sequence. This is not unusual in the world of agility. It's been used for years and years and years. And that sequence has 9 columns and it has different relative values. Now, I want you to understand, with the couple of minutes I have left, this is not the end of it. We're doing this twice with the same list with different people. One group of people is going to give me relative value. The other group of people is going to give me relative effort. And that's the key, because now we have 2 of the 3 things that we need to satisfy this thing that I'm referring to as the golden rule, Apke's golden rule of Agile, which is we have a numeric value for effort and we have a numeric value for value. And we can use those 2 things to do what I'm going to talk about in the next session. So a little teaser there. In the next Friday Relentless Learning session, my big idea is about, okay, now that we have these things, how do we sequence the work and why is that important? So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I'm keeping an eye on the clock. That was exactly 10 minutes. So I finally was able to say something in 10 minutes. It's not very easy for me to do. But I want to bring my guest on now. This is Aman.
Hey, everybody. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Aman, some of you might know. I don't know how many people we have here. Hopefully we have a group. The funny thing is I'm used to presenting where I can actually see people. So I can't see how many people are in here, but you're welcome to put in comments, by the way. We will have the ability to have questions. So I put a little scroll down at the bottom. I'm still learning my technology. A little scroll on the bottom says, hey, look, put your questions in the comments. We'll make sure we get to them after Aman's presentation. But Aman helped me out with some of this technology and getting these things going. I certainly appreciate that. We know each other. We actually, this is the beauty of the Bay Area, is you have so many talented people right in your own backyard. And Aman's in my own backyard. We know each other both professionally and socially. And Aman has a very interesting take on things. We've had some deep conversations. One of the reasons I wanted to bring him on as a guest for this. You have your own business.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell us a little bit about your business and what you do.
So I'm a founder of a company called Custom Cloud. It's primarily a software development company. We've been building custom apps, SaaS platforms for the better part of 2 decades. We like to continually push innovation. We've worked with companies like BMW, McDonald's. We're in multiple industries, including airports, universities, municipalities, healthcare, and of course, private business. Oftentimes we find ourselves working with startups because they usually have the most innovative ideas. And I like them because they tend to push our team the hardest to kind of develop new technology. And that's essentially why we're all here.
And how long have you been doing this? It's been a while.
We got it founded back in 2008, so nearly 20 years.
Yeah, nearly 20 years. And you started out in Canada, is that correct?
That's right. Okay. We started out in Canada. We have a great development team there. More recently, after COVID, COVID was good for a company like us, so we did really well during COVID. We decided to move our offices here in San Francisco and the Bay Area. And then from there, we're basically drumming up right into AI. We walked right into AI as soon as it got it released. And we've been drumming up new concepts, new ideas with AI and new products and services throughout the last, I would say, almost a year. We're almost a year about dealing with this.
And you want to talk a little bit about, this is the opportunity just for a few minutes. If you have a few things that you want to promote or things that you want to talk about in particular about what you do, because you do have you have a number of products that you do. A lot of them are AI focused. What's the one that you're most excited about?
We have a good number of products, and it's crazy because like the speed at which we're able to launch them has kind of got our brains racked, and we're always looking for new ideas. But one of the ones we're most excited about coming up is a product that manages your social media. It's called Trends, with 2 Z's. And we'll put a link later on in the comments. But basically, the idea with it was it handles all of your social media tasks, your scheduling, your development. And we use about 16 different AIs within it to even build artwork and build captions and do multi-platform. So we're really excited about it because it's a technology we built for ourselves. And we're planning to use it to distribute more of our other services, as well as make it a standalone product that people can sign up for.
And we have just a minute before I want to get to your big idea, but anything other than your big idea that you want to say about AI, because this is such a hot topic for everyone these days.
It's developing almost daily. It's what we find is definitely we've attended probably more than 300 hours of AI, mix of conferences, seminars. We ourselves are building a lot of content around AI and educational material. So it's a fantastic field. The opportunities are almost endless, and we're just at the tip of it. So it's pretty much one of the most exciting fields to be in today. And I think it's going to really shift the direction of the humanity going forward. Excellent.
So you have a presentation for us, a big idea for us. Do you want me to add that to the stage?
Yeah. Let's put that on the stage, and let's just start diving then.
I'm gonna let you take it away, and I'm gonna hang out in the background and help with the technology, make sure everybody's taken care of. If you need anything, just holler.
Okay, sounds good.
Oops, wrong person here. Let's get the. We need to remove.
There you go. So, I mean, you already know we're a software development company, and the main reason we're here is we want to talk about technology and kind of where technology is headed, what we should know about it, and especially specifically AI. So AI is transforming our world. It's creating tools that feel like magic. It's opening the door to a new level of productivity that we've never known. So basically, we're going to say where it is today, where it's headed, how it got started, and why now is the time for it. And let's just jump right in. The first kind of main thing we want to hammer home with AI is that AI is old. It is not new. It's been around for decades. It's come in a lot of different forms. So it's, if Everybody on the planet's been exposed to AI at some point. If you've ever used Google Maps, if you've ever used Google Search, YouTube, or even here on LinkedIn, these are all products that use a form of AI. We normally call them algorithms, but in truth, anytime a machine is making a decision for us, that is AI. So you might be thinking, if it's been around for so long, why is it blowing up now? Well, the simple answer is this. Computers have gotten faster. Cloud has allowed them to get bigger. Technology advancements have made them cheaper. And one of the big ones is, thanks to mobile computing and cell phones, they're more profitable than ever. And profitable is the main thing, because the average person will change their laptop maybe every 3 to 6 years. The question is, how often you really change your cell phone? Well, if you're like me and you got slippery hands and a hard floor, you're changing it pretty frequently. So because of this, we've seen cell phones have trillions of dollars of investment in the last 20 years, developing these ultra powerful, ultra efficient chips. And it's opened up the doorway to a brand new type of computing that we see today. So let's jump into an example. Tesla's self-driving system is an amazing piece of technology. It's hyper advanced. It runs on 12 ARM Cortex A72 CPUs. Do you know what else runs on 12 ARM Core? Well, not 12, but do you know what else runs on ARM Cortex A72 CPUs? The 2016 Samsung Galaxy A9 Pro. So your 2024 top of the line 200-mile-an-hour Tesla is using a cell phone chip from 2016 to make all the decisions that keep you safe. That's not a knock on Tesla. It's more an example of just how powerful these chips actually are when we put them to work. So where does that lead us? Well, it leads us right to everybody's best friend, ChatGPT. You might be asking, if AI existed, why is ChatGPT so important? Well, ChatGPT is really the one we're attributing to opening the floodgates to the new world we're walking into. And in my opinion, the reason for that is it's the first good general purpose AI. Keyword being good. If you ever use Siri on your phone, you know what it feels like to interact with a bad general purpose AI. So what makes ChatGPT so good? Let's look at the numbers. ChatGPT 3.5 is largely considered the start of this AI revolution. It was trained on over 175 billion different parameters, and its data set is about 45 terabytes, which is a lot. We've seen how much an impact it's made, and let's fast forward 12 short months. Where are we today? With GPT-4, which is the current version, that training has gone up to 1.7 trillion parameters, and the data set has grown over 22 times to a total of 1 petabyte, which is 1,000 terabytes. So it's drastically more parameters to process against. It's drastically more detailed of a platform to pull from and a data solution. And that's just in 1 year. Next year, we're expecting GPT-5 to come out. It's going to be another massive leap in computing, as well as it's rumored that GPT-5 will have the ability to handle audio, images, and even video as new forms of communication. So where does that leave people? I know I'm probably scared a few of in the room, but you shouldn't be afraid. After all, the talk is about embracing AI. The overview is just there to show you this isn't a fad. It isn't a buzzword. It's a real, genuine shift in the future of humanity. 2022 is the year that humanity stopped being the most intelligent species on the planet, and it's the year we also stopped being alone at the top. We now have a companion, a teammate, a worker, a friend to help us reach our goals, to do the mundane tasks that free up our time to pursue higher thinking. Well, some of you guys may ask, what is higher thinking? And the truth is, we've seen it before. We've seen it when the abacus became Excel. Excel allows non-math people to create hugely complicated formulas spanning multiple pages and documents with ease. Most of us use it every day. People can calculate they're spending throughout an entire year with thousands of transactions down to a single penny. If I ask the same people what 243 times 832 was, they probably couldn't give me an answer. That's what higher thinking looks like. You allow the system to complete the low-level operational tasks so you can focus on increasingly more complex relationships and concepts. So let's talk about productivity. Let's say you wanted to write a book or a blog post. If you're like me, normally you're going to spend a good 5 days staring at a blank page. Then in one day, you'll just panic write the whole thing. Eventually, through the next few days, you'll edit it, you'll tweak it, and after about, let's say about a week or so, you'll get a version you're quite happy with. Today, you can tell an AI your idea, get your first draft within a few minutes. If you're motivated, you can review it and tweak it over the next hour or so. Now you have a second draft in record time. You put some bullet points in, you have the AI weave them into the article, and within a day, you've successfully put your thoughts down into a compelling piece of work and still have time to go out to dinner with your spouse. It's no different from Excel completing all the mundane arithmetic for you. It's just in this case, AI is completing the mundane writing tasks. It's your ideas, it's your thinking, it's your methodology. It's just the mundane part of sentence structure, grammar, punctuation, tone have all been delegated to the AI. There is one concept which is kind of key to a lot of this that I want you to hold on to. It's an analogy. So imagine in the physical world, you could only use human power. So that means you have to run or walk to work, run or walk to your kid's school, run or walk to the airport carrying your parents with you. Think of how much further you could go with a car and how much easier it has become. AI is a vehicle for the mind. You're still making the decisions, but now it's much easier and you can go much further. We're no longer alone as the smartest species on the planet, and I think it's amazing that it happened in our lifetime. This is just a quick high-level overview. I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. As well, Custom Cloud is here to help with any of the development projects you may have, especially ones using AI. Otherwise, I hope this was informative and you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Aman. I appreciate that. And you did very, very well with the time, which is good as well. I have not seen a whole lot of folks asking questions in the chat yet, or in the comments yet. It's interesting to me because we've had these conversations. I don't know if this is more of a question, but just to give people a perspective, you were talking about writing a book. So I have the new book coming out, and I was able to write it much faster because of ChatGPT. Now, I'm old school, and I've kind of got my own voice when I write, which not everybody finds amusing, but it is what it is. So I wrote it first, but then I would put it into ChatGPT, and I would have ChatGPT give me suggestions and other things that would clean up a lot of the grammar and other things. I mean, it proofread it. Now, I have sent it to a proofreader, a professional proofreader for a final, but we can see, I mean, I think a lot of folks can see that there are certain jobs that will change as they do with any major disruptive technology. And there's certain jobs that won't be around. You're telling us not to fear AI, but if I'm a proofreader, it doesn't seem to me that that's going to be a high growth job in the future. So when we talk about the people who are going to be affected by AI, the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is what is the advice to say, okay, yes, this helps a lot of folks be better, but it also, like the automobile, it gets rid of the the horse and carriage. What do we do with people who make horse and carriage, right?
Well, let's jump on your example of a proofreader, right? So I would argue that yes, your traditional proofreader has some learning to do. It doesn't mean proofreading is going away, but their ability to review, let's say, multiple projects has just gone up exponentially because they're no longer restricted by their own time. They now have a 24/7 assistant through ChatGPT or Bard or whichever AI is your preference to help them along the way and help diagnose. So it's kind of like the methodology can get more advanced because you're not dealing with the smaller pieces. So with the Excel example, it's if I gave you a list of 1,000 things and I just said, hey, Larry, add these together, that may take you half a day. But if you dump them into Excel, it takes 5 minutes. AI is allowing this for new fields. That's the biggest game changer, is it's new opportunities to do this type of work.
This I understand. This I do understand, but I do understand folks when there is fear out there. Yeah. And I don't know if you still allayed my fear, because even when Excel comes around, all the people who are doing, entry work, probably paper and pencil kind of thing, they have another job. So proofreader doesn't go away, but I need 1% of what exists. So the 99% of the people who are doing proofreading, though this might help them, may find themselves without a proofreading job. They got to find something else.
Yeah, and I would say there's a saying that it's AI won't replace people. People who use AI will replace people who don't. That's a more correct frame of mind. So I would always recommend people investigate AI. It's very inexpensive to kind of get started, to get a free account, even with ChatGPT to play around with. Try to understand in your field what it can do for you, for your productivity. And it is a matter of, okay, well, we're still going to need people, right? In the end of the day, it's the AI can write me, you mentioned it, the AI can edit your book, but it's your voice. You want it to be your message. It's your product. It's not the AI's product. It's yours. When it comes to things like data entry, I mean, there's a lot of other technologies that have already crushed a lot of data entry jobs. AI is not new. I mean, anybody who has an iPhone, a recent iPhone, you can take a photo of a bunch of text and then select and copy and paste it. It's not new. And that, I would say, is the same thing in data entry. It's like, okay, well, if it's not AI, it's the next general technology. What AI has done is just sped up the ball and made it so we have something that can apply to the numbers guy, the English major, something to the business person, somebody in technology. It's now so general that it can go sweeping across the board. Rather, historically, it's usually been industry by industry by industry.
I'm concerned. I'm going to keep digging on this, and we've had these conversations.
Absolutely.
Because it is disruptive in the same way that we had disruptions in physical labor through automation. This is in some respects kind of knowledge worker automation. Yeah. The problem is, what do you say to a society that's not ready for this kind of disruption? I can imagine a world where we're going to have unemployment rates that are 20, 30%, because if I only need one proofreader where I needed 100 of them, there's going to be a high dislocation of proofreaders, at least for a while, until they can learn a new technology.
But I will argue you'll get more content creators. So you'll get a lot more people entering into fields that usually had a larger barrier to entry. So basically what I look at it is this is a reorganization of our natural resources, of essentially our brains, right? Yeah. So it opens up new industries. It opens up new opportunities for people to kind of get involved in things that maybe there was a large barrier to entry. Like maybe there's somebody at home who dreamed of writing a book for a number of years, but just could never find the time.
Yeah.
Well, now they can say, okay, well, I'll work with an AI, I'll work with some editing software, and maybe they'll get a decent result. And it's took half the time it took before, or they feel more confident to dive into it. Yeah. Another example would be if you're if you're in, let's say, data entry industry, and I hand you, or let's just say the new version of Office comes out with AI built in, which is available right now. You're doing data entry. Well, how nice is it when you have autofill, allowing you to quickly hit enter and it goes to the next line, and off you go. And it seems like the system knows what you're doing, so it helps accelerate the task. Okay, great. You're getting more done, and it's like magic, where it's kind of reading your mind and it does it for you. That experience is what's going to hit a lot of the tools with AI. AI isn't so much, Maya and yourself interfacing directly with it. It's more of these tools that just kind of start working like magic, right?
I have a lot of other questions, but I want to get to. I think we've stimulated some of the questions finally in the comments, and I wanted to get to them. Ian, who is actually going to be one of our presenters as well in the future, and Charlie Triplett is here. Charlie is going to be one of our guests in the future as well. So thank you guys for joining us, and everybody else as well. Ian was asking me, how do you know your proofreader isn't using ChatGPT to proofread it? I don't know. That's the easy answer. I mean, maybe not. At least I got somebody, I guess, a wringable neck to go to if they screw it up. So a LinkedIn user says, as you're aware, AI will change the job market. I heard engineering will be greatly reduced because AI can do the code. In fact, tools are being developed that are no code. Right now, I see developers transitioning to prompt engineers. How do you anticipate your field, software development, changing?
I anticipate it's going to be turned on its head. It already has. We're not naive to the fact that technology tends to get better every year and not worse. It's kind of a one-way direction. So today you can have a no code, let's say a very simple app. Next year it'll be a little bit more complex. Next year it'll be a little bit more complex. So we're aware of that, but it also doesn't mean we're standing still either. We also get to use those same algorithms, those same tools, and build stuff that is wildly unrealistic almost a year and a half ago. But today it's almost mundane. And what I see is in the industry has been a lot of companies are consulting like ourselves, but also we're transitioning a lot of our stuff into services. So we're looking at launching a lot of in-house services to offer AI in the way we think it's best presented and best held. So that way it's kind of that we're on both sides of the fence. We want to be with the users. We want to help the companies get the users, and we want to stay ahead of the technology. So every time, Google comes up with a new feature in their AI or ChatGPT gets a new function, well, all of our services and all of our applications and all of our team also just gained that much more speed and expertise. So what we can do today is drastically greater than what we could have done maybe 2 years ago. So we haven't stood still. So what we're seeing is the accessibility is going up, which means the bottom line has raised, but at the same time, the top line has also raised. So we raise the ceiling and the base at the same time.
It's interesting, and I like it. I mean, I think you're a little bit more optimistic about the future of AI than I am. But be that as it may, one of the things I do see is it will democratize certain things. So I'm a big fan, as you know, from the work that I've done through my nonprofit of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What I see this is leveling the playing field. Maybe we'll talk about that in a second, but I don't want to run out of time and not get to the folks who've joined us, their questions. So Carrie Van Den Brink, if I've got that right, thank you for joining us. Oh, Corey, sorry. That's what happens when you get old. Your eyes don't see the small print as good. We need some AI for that. He says, Aman, I agree that AI is the future. Things are changing fast, and there are 1,000 new companies out there using this technology. Do you have any ideas on how we and our businesses can stay on top of the changes and ahead of the curve?
Number one is going to be education and the right frame of mind. I think those two things, and the Pandora's box, you can say, has been opened. There is no more way to close it. Even if Chat GPT shuts off, people can run AI on their local machine. The iPhone can run AI on device. So, there was a point, there's a hard lock in time where it was pre-AI, now we're post-AI. And I would say businesses who jump on this with both feet, businesses who say, okay, how can we be better? How can we serve our customers better? How can we leverage AI to hit a new level of automation? That frees up resources for other things. If you're running, let's say, a small company and you're spending, thousands of dollars on social media advertising, and a platform like our platform Trends comes up, that allows us to save you some of those budgets, save you some of those expenses, and reinvest that into your primary services. If you're doing community outreach, right? If you are putting on events, well, automating how invites are handled, automating how exposure is handled, again, allows you to put more effort into your event, frees up your resources to create a higher quality product. And in return, the consumers, the people who are interested in this, they're the ones who benefit. So companies that understand that you say it kind of like, we're not replacing people, but we are moving people, right? So instead of the 5-man team that was doing your marketing, it's now the 2-man team. The extra 3 guys go towards your product. The same spend will be there.
I think you're a little bit more optimistic on how businesses will actually use this in the real world, given the fact that I've seen dislocation and layoffs happen,
And
not as a result of AI. I mean,
unfortunately, that will happen in some industries. I will caution, every industry is ripe for this. This is a shift, kind of like when we went from horse and carriage to automobiles, right? It's the horse and carriage guys got extinct, right? The guys who jumped on automobiles and retooled their factories, they're still around, right? So it is a shift. It is an adjustment. We're in a transition phase right now, which opens up a lot of opportunity for businesses. It opens up a lot of opportunities for individuals who are interested in adjusting their fields or expanding their knowledge base or getting into these new markets that are opening up. But ultimately, this is the new progression. I mean, when at some point, if we make it to Mars, or when we make it to Mars, there's going to be an entire economy there that has to be driven by something, right? So that opens up a new industry.
I appreciate that, Aman. I'm looking at the time. I want to be respectful. Oh, yeah. Just a couple of minutes left. I do want to go back to this one because I do want to get your take, and I think we talked about it before, but I've probably forgotten how you responded. So I want to get back to this concept of democratization that AI presents, because what I see, I'm not, again, as optimistic as you are, but if I'm going to put my optimistic hat on, I see it as a way for people of color and women and people who have been marginalized maybe by the current systems that we've built. It becomes an opportunity for them to do things that they haven't been able to do and break through in ways that they haven't been able to break through. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I was at an AI conference, and there was a single mother there who had just gone into real estate. And she said it was her work with ChatGPT that helped her feel confident enough to write the exam and get past it. That's an example of, well, in her close group, she doesn't have anybody in that field. She's the first in her family, right? So this happened because of AI.
Super. I'm going to give that as the last word. I want to thank Aman for joining us. Obviously, these conversations are going to keep going. I encourage folks to keep joining us every Friday. Next week we have Kyle Arate. He's an agile coach I worked with for years. He's always an entertaining speaker, as Aman was. We've got Charlie Trippett coming up. I've got Ian talking about AI. I've got Charlie talking about accessibility. We're going to keep presenting big ideas. We hope you find it useful to you. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Aman, again, thank you very much. I'm going to give you a last word. Anything else that you want to say that you didn't get a chance to say before we
I invite everybody to join me on LinkedIn if you want to connect, if you want to discuss AI, Things in Mind project. It's a new community. We love meeting people. We love seeing different ideas, and just keep the conversation going.
Super. Thank you so much, Aman. Thank you all for joining us. We hope to see you again next week. If you found it valuable, please tell your friends, bring them along. We'd certainly love to increase our reach because we believe that what we're doing here is helpful to you. If you agree, please bring some other folks with you when you join us in the future.